Hello, I'm Judy Stiles. Thank you for joining us this week on Newsmakers. Our focus this week is on Carl Junction, and more specifically the Chamber and an upcoming event for the community, the annual Business Expo. Joining me, Gary Stubblefield, the Executive Director of the Chamber. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Judy.
And we're talking about the Carl Junction Chamber, which you operate year-round, obviously, but you have this big event in the spring.
But once a year, we take the opportunity to showcase a few of our members. You know, we have about 300 members now that belong to our chamber. And this is the 5th year for our Expo, and the whole reason for the Expo is for people to come and see what the latest is in services and products in our 4-state area, and who better to learn it from than the best of the best, and those are the ones that we showcase, of course, at our Expo.
So it's for the people who are members, and you have a theme this year called Superheroes.
We have a theme every year, and it's pretty cool, but this year it's Superheroes of Networking, so you're going to see a lot of capes. Hopefully not too many tights, but it'll be over the top.
So the people who are doing the exhibits are really encouraged to do something to follow along with these themes.
Yes, to really reach in and grab hold of that theme and use it not only in the decorating, but how they maybe dress themselves and their giveaways. And then, of course, we also embrace that with the side attractions that are going on throughout the day.
Now, this is a community-wide event. It's not just for chamber members. I mean, if I live in the community, I can come there, even though I'm not a business owner.
Oh, probably 85% of the attendance comes from outside of Carl Junction. Absolutely.
So coming to March 4th and 5th, so it's a Friday, Saturday event?
Open to the public on March 5th from 9 to 2.
And what about the cost for people to get in?
Well, it's pretty cheap. If you're looking for something fun to do with the family, and of course our focus is let's make it family friendly and kid oriented and fun for both. It's $2 for adults. Children 12 and under are free, as long as they come with a paid accompanying adult. And there will be plenty for the kids to do, and that frees up the adults to have some time to visit with our exhibitors.
Great, and we have a graphic up on the screen where people can see kind of the look and the logo for this year, tying a lot of information there, tying all of that together. And this is at the community center.
It's at the Carl Junction Community Center. That's 303 North Main. That is a huge facility that will be 6 years old this June. And our Expo, we actually take over the entire facility with pipe and drape and booths and side attractions. And of course, we're maxed out. We're already sold out. And we have vendors outside, and parking goes all the way up to the fire department on Pennell, but we're running 3 kinds of shuttle service. And so it doesn't matter where you park, we'll get you to and from the door.
You get to the building and back.
Absolutely.
Tying that together. Well, I know you have some pictures from previous years, so help people visualize what they find when they go to an expo. We can call up some of these pictures. And basically you have, as you say, booths for each person has a space to help sell their business. Basically.
They do. And now there's Joplin Floor Designs. Joplin Floor Designs has been a gold sponsor of our expo since the very first year, and they will talk about, of course, their carpeting, the fact that they're a great source for granite, and they're one of their owners, Holly Huckel, is actually very, very instrumental each year in helping to plan this, so it is over top. Neotech Solutions every year gives away, when you come in and you register, one person is going to walk out of there with a free iPad Air 2, iPad Air 2, I believe is what it's called, courtesy of Neotech Solutions. And we have an emphasis on electronics. We have another vendor. There's our chamber booth. That's one year we had a robot there. The robot's on the left. The other's not. I think that's the Stokes kid. Good kid. Shuttle is courtesy of Roper Kia. And in addition to our van shuttle, we'll also have limousine shuttle, courtesy of Simpson Funeral Home, so you can park up there. That is actually last year's winner. Our theme was storybooks. And they embraced Jack and the Beanstalk, and that was Brad McIntyre's Edward Jones office. And one reason our exhibitors really get into getting into the theme, one, it's fun, and two, they could win a free booth for the next year, which this year Brad didn't have to pay a thing.
So he's got it.
Now there is 4-state office products. I think their theme was a Dr. Seuss book, and so they really got into that, and that's what makes it fun. This woman, and I don't recall her name, but she won the iPad last year from Neotech Solutions. She was just over the top ecstatic because she didn't have one.
So that's a door prize. When you enter, you're entered into that.
And this little cutie, I don't know what her name was, But she won. S&S Computers gives away, since we're giving away iPad to the adults, they have a drawing for a Kindle, like Amazon kids version.
Reader type thing.
And they're all about kids at S&S. And so that's what they gave away, and she won that. New Air Fireplace, they are in Carl Junction. They're one of our manufacturers. They have pushed into some new segments, including teardrop trailers and these wood fire pizza ovens. So they're actually going to be on site again this year making wood fire pizzas.
Available to the public?
And it's so good.
So the product connection as well as the food.
And that's just it. You can come, it's open from 9 to 2. And there's a lot to do. There's food samples. There's opportunities to buy your lunch there. And there's just so much to see and do. For $2 and with the kids getting in free, it's a great way to spend the Saturday.
For families say, let's go do this to see what's happening.
Absolutely.
Right? We have a superheroes of networking. Tell me about the idea for the networking theme, how that came about.
Well, we kind of thought about our chamber and our chamber's growth. And in the last 6 years, we've grown about 7-fold. And so why? Well, we seem to really embrace networking. We have a morning, first Thursday, networking meeting that averages 60 to 80 people. And they come and they visit and they pass out cards and they do business. So we rolled out midday, and we have 2 different versions of a midday networking venue. And then we rolled out business after hours, which is an evening opportunity to network. And then when we decided on this expo 5 years ago, it was another opportunity on weekends for everyone to get together. And what happened was people started doing business, seeing a value in being a member of the chamber. And when people ask what chamber should I join, I've got to say every one that you can. Not only the ones that you do business in or the town that you live in, but anywhere where you want to grow your business. And so, like all chambers, we're an area chamber of commerce, and about 70% of our membership is actually located outside of Carl Junction, but it doesn't really matter. We're just a really good chamber as far as networking and doing business that happens to be located in Carl Junction. Which I think is great, because I think that's a pretty good little town.
So you really stress the regionalism, that just because there's a city limit doesn't mean you can't come over here and join in and help us out.
Well, we're a regional economy, and when Joplin gets a manufacturing plant, could be that the new employees decide that their kids want to be in the Carl Junction School District. And so many of our businesses, the owners may live in Carl Junction, but they work in Joplin or Webb City or Neosho. And so there's a very regional aspect to our economy, and we embrace that.
So dollars don't stop at the city limits, basically. You're working together.
No.
Right. Well, you mentioned the community center. We also have some video of the community center to help people visualize where it's at, and we can maybe take a kind of a video tour and take a look at what you have looking at the community center. You said it was only built about 5.5, 6 years ago.
We dedicated in June of 2010, and the thought process was, we need a place for our town where everyone can get together and under one roof have a lot of important places you need to find. So this houses our city hall, it houses our senior center, it houses the chamber. We have a walking track, we have a fitness center, a gymnasium, and we have meeting rooms. And so 7 days a week this facility is open, and it's used 7 days a week, and we've had weddings there and wakes and expos, and anyone that at the time thought that maybe it wouldn't be utilized has realized that quite honestly we could almost add on and certainly could use some more parking. Yeah. And so it's a great facility, but all of this that you see we take over with booths. And so also right here as you come in the lobby, embracing our superhero theme. And by the way, that's a mural that represents 125 years of pictorial history. Yes, yes, it's a great mural. And in that lobby, we're going to have an aerial silk suspended, and Kay Lewis and Midwest Regional Ballet will be on hand the entire day. And in the gymnasium, which we haven't seen yet, and in the lobby, we'll have aerial silk suspended, and we'll have superheroes on aerial silks spinning above head.
Oh boy, yeah. So some entertainment as well.
Now
and
that's
of course,
our
the
senior
center is
center,
open throughout the week.
And we'll put a bunch of booths in there too, and pull out all those tables and chairs to make room for it. It's been a great facility for us.
So really there's a lot of cooperation within that center. You have the senior center, you have the city government, you have the chamber, a lot of...
We're a small community, and so, what better kind of facility for a small community especially, then one spot where you can go and get together.
Now here we have chamber members.
In fact, there's our chamber newsletter, the February one, featuring Sweet Emotions Chocolate, who will be in our
They'll be at the Expo?
Yes,
So
they do these
chocolate samples, maybe?
Oh my gosh, it's awesome! It's so good. Yeah, they will be there. The chamber office, which is 100 square foot right now, but you know what's coming.
Right. We'll talk about that in a moment.
All
It's
right.
coming, but if you need to find the chamber office right now, you're in the
At 303 North Main.
Right,
We'll have things going down that hallway, and that gymnasium that you see will be completely converted with, of course, another aerial scarf suspended and superheroes above, and walking the floors.
So a lot of your exhibitors will be in there in that large space.
Oh yes,
So you have a lot of space.
there's
there,
30
which
some
is-
in that room alone.
Right.
Yeah,
course.
and then we have a fitness center. It is, you know, for the size of the community, it's quite a facility.
So the community has invested in this. It was something
They
that people
have,
had
and they've
that-
benefited from it as well.
and putting that
Absolutely.
together and working together. Of course, City Hall.
City Hall,
When the government has sent, that's where your government is seated as well.
yes.
And so people really, when they come to Carl Junction, they want to find out something about the city. This is probably one of their first stops.
That's probably the best spot, and it's easy to find. It's hard, let's face it, to get lost in Carl Junction.
Right.
But if you do, you'll find that all our merchants are quite friendly. You just stop and ask for directions. We'll get you there.
Tell you how to go down the street to get
Oh,
there
sure,
and so forth.
sure.
So, and of course, the council chambers.
Council
people may
chambers.
recognize that from coverage of meetings and so forth. So.
Yeah.
So really, you have a facility that's used 7 days a week, even in the evenings. A lot of purposes for that
It
facility.
is. It is. It's a great facility, and it works out really well for us on this expo. We're sold out. You know, we've got 60 booths, exhibitors on the inside, and we can put a few outside. Of course, you know, you're always dependent on the weather.
Right.
In March, but if we had a facility twice the size, we could fill it. You know,
have that many
because we sold
interested
out so
exhibitors.
far. You know, so long ago. Yeah, we could easily double the size of the expo, but we just don't have a facility big enough. But that's a great problem.
Great problem to have people wanting
It's
to
a
come
great
into your
problem.
program and tie all that together. So you mentioned, you know, this is your home for now. Let's talk about the chamber's new home.
Well, it's a very exciting time for our chamber. We're building our own building, and so for the first time in the history of the Carl Junction Area Chamber of Commerce, we're going to have our own digs, and so we're going to be moving from that office of 100 square foot that the city has generously given us since that facility opened, and it really did help us, to our own facility, which is 1,800 square foot, about a block north, also on Main Street, and that's going to allow us to have obviously more room, incubator space, so we can help another startup, you know.
So you'll have additional space than just
Yes,
an office, other
conference
purposes.
space and meeting space, and
Right.
and we're just going to do so much more educational programming and just more opportunities for our members. And that's our mission.
Great. And what is your timetable for this facility?
We will dedicate in May. We are extremely blessed. The building trades class of our high school, the past few years for their school project for the year, they've worked on a Habitat for Humanity house, and there wasn't one lined up for this year. So they've taken on our project, which gave them hands-on, real-world experience for commercial build-out, and they're in there now. It's coming along really, really well, and so they're going to wrap it into April 1st of May because it needs to last the school year.
Right, they fill a school year.
But we would be crazy to not dedicate it in May while they're still in school because we want every one of those kids there.
Oh, you might be able to say thanks to those kids and have them
And
walk
they're
through and see the
taking-
finished.
Yeah, and they're taking great ownership in it. They're very proud of the fact that, you know, they've helped create this, and you know, we're very grateful that they have.
Now, are there any needs that come along with the building? You know, you have a facility. Are there needs the chamber has for what goes into the facility?
We have an ongoing, evolving wish list of, you know, I'll sit around my office now and realize, well, right now I use the city's whatever it is,
Right.
you know, and they're quite generous about that, but we don't have our own vacuum sweeper, for instance, and that need has now been covered, but we have an evolving wish list of things that we're starting to realize that, hey, we're going to need in a new building, and our members are, they're very good to us.
So
Very
they're
generous.
helping you
and they are
fill that
helping, so
facility.
we don't have to go out and buy that, and to keep our costs low, so we keep our membership schedules low too.
So then a lot of people cooperatively working together for that.
Yes.
So-
We, where's the camera? We need a parking lot in the worst way. So if anyone would like to get a hold of me, love to talk to you about a parking lot.
So you have the building, you need the pavement and
We need
everything
that.
around it.
Yeah,
Right?
we kind of need that. Yeah. But we got the coffee pot and the vacuum cleaner.
Okay, so you can have a meeting and keep it clean.
Yes.
Tying that together. Well, let's talk briefly about the structure of the chamber. You're the executive director. So
Yes.
how does the chamber operate? As far as you have a board of directors then as well?
We have a board of 9, and they represent a great cross-section of industry and banking and school and city.
Right.
And so that, which represents, our chamber membership as well, and our partnerships. And so it's a good board. It's a very active board, and you and I serve on a board, and you know how important that is. This is a good board, as is the one we serve on. But it's a good board. We're getting ready to hire our first employee, other than me.
So you'll have additional staff as well.
I'm so excited. Someone will answer the phones. But it's an exciting time for the chamber right now.
Now, you mentioned a lot of cooperation and the different ties. I know Carl Junction, you've mentioned schools a number of times. You have real close ties to the schools within your community.
We do, because each community is unique, and we are very well defined and known, and rightly so, by our school district. I mean, that's why a lot of people move there. And so our biggest ally and partner is the schools. They help me personally with interns and the FBLA club, which is Future Business Leaders America. I don't know what I'd do without them. They will be on hand at the Expo.
So they'll be volunteering that day, helping you out?
Amazing kids. And all the kids actually at our Carl Junction High School, the FFA and FCCLA, all the different groups help us and help around the community. And so it only makes sense that, we probably spend more time with our school than maybe another chamber would, just because it's more of a component of our community.
Your community as well. Yeah. And then I know each spring you take time to recognize people in the schools. You have some special recognition each spring.
We do, and that comes up in April, and this will be the 16th year for the Carl Junction Community and Education Awards Banquet. And what we do is we honor the best of the best, and that can be businesses, it can be individuals or clubs, and certainly teachers and students that just go up and above in what they do, and we believe very strongly in honoring them.
Now, how do people nominate, or how do they get names in the hat for consideration for that if someone's watching?
We'll actually put those ballots out soon,
Right.
and it is what's I think distinguishes it is we don't say here is a category and here are your 3 people to vote for. We just say here's the category. You tell us. So it's completely peer driven.
So they make the nomination.
It's all write-in.
Right.
And so when you get up there, that you've got a lot of people rooting for you, and that's the way it should be.
Right. So it builds a lot of that community pride then through those presentations.
It does.
And tying all
it's
of that together.
it's pretty much the biggest night of the year. Yeah.
Big event for you. Well, I know you've had a lot of success with, as you mentioned earlier, the networking programs. You have luncheons. You do a lot of educational programs for members as well, in addition?
We do, and that's something that we've really made an effort the last 2 years is, we need to make sure our members have all the tools that they need to succeed. And so we've partnered with MSSU, quite honestly, has been our best ally on that, to bring workshops on, everything, business plans and, just business resilience, business transition, anything that would be of relevance to a business owner or someone thinking to open a business. And so that's something that I'm probably the most proud of in the last couple of years is, it makes sense that a chamber that is so partnered with the thought of education, as we are with our schools, that we would also embrace education for our members. And so we get into that new building, we'll really be able to ramp up the number and times and topics that we get to cover. And we always do those workshops free, and then our members always step up to sponsor them, so that usually there's a meal included, and the sponsor takes care of it, so it's a great opportunity to get a meal and learn something
at the same time. You mentioned Incubator earlier. Do you see more opportunities for those startup businesses, people who might have the idea, the chamber helping them along to make that a reality?
Oh, I think so. I think that's going to be an exciting component of the new building is, you've got a lot of people they're wanting to start up, but you've got to have a location and not just the rent, but the utilities and and maybe someone answers the phones, and that's a big step. But if you can go in and rent a turnkey spot like we're going to have, then it's all inclusive, and that gives you the credibility as a new startup that you actually have a physical location to meet clients, just to accept packages,
Right.
you know, at a cost that's far less. With the thinking being, you're going to have a success. You know, you've got half a shot now, because that first year is the toughest, and come in here into this incubator situation, and and hopefully flourish, and then you move on, and we bring in another one. And another
Just
one.
kind of keeps going from there and tying that together. So a lot of support within the chamber for these businesses to continue to succeed. A lot of times people hear about chambers and say, well, maybe they're just always bringing in new businesses, but a lot of support for existing businesses.
Well, you want to help who's here, and you want to help new people to find a way and to succeed on both counts.
To kind of a good combination of the two and tying that together. Right. Well, I know you have different services like this. So you have workshops, and you saw your newsletter down the video. So there's a lot of resources available for people as well.
Well, our newsletter, which is available also on our website, carljunction.cc.com, CC Chamber of Commerce.
Right.
That's also a great opportunity to learn who the members are, and that's the landing page. There's part of the FBLA right there. That woman on the left is my hero. There's some people also from the Expo, Joe Klein-Sorgi and
So we're
Audrey.
seeing some of your website here as well.
And that was just a very awkward wrestling match we held, which raised a lot of money for breast cancer. Brad McIntyre, who also Claudia Cox, who we've been here before talking about the Cox tournament that raises money for firefighters, and SpongeBob from one of our past
Previous
expos.
events.
There's our Facebook
And you also
page.
have Facebook and social media. You have to really be active in social media today as well.
And we seem to be. we seem to be on there all the time. One of the interns, that's all he does is work on that. And you can see there's some capes that are given away by SNS Computers, and you can link through that page, of course, to our website, and the social media is that's kind of where it's at these days.
Now, getting the younger generation involved, like the high school students and so forth, do you feel that really helps the chamber maybe reach a demographic you wouldn't otherwise be able to reach or get involved in?
It works both ways. My intern didn't know a thing about Facebook, didn't care a thing about Facebook because his mom was on Facebook. And we had to have the discussion about demographics, and it was his mom we wanted to reach. So in turn, he's going to maybe teach me about Instagram and Twitter and some of the venues where we need to be. So we're learning from each other.
Right.
Yeah, and hitting all the ages that we need to hit.
So getting everyone involved throughout the community. Well, talking about growth in the chamber, your membership has grown tremendously, as you've mentioned. And what do people say, when you talk to somebody about joining the chamber, what's one of the number one reasons they say, okay, I want to join? What sells them on the chamber?
Well, I think they if they're serious about growing the business, that's what brings them in. They're, we have spectacular chambers in all our neighboring communities, and we even overlap on our memberships. But each group you get into is another group to draw on. So, for instance, if you have 300 members, if you come in today, you've got 299 people that are going to pull out the stops to help you. All we ask is that you help them. And at its very core, that's what a chamber should do, is everyone supports each other, and you offer as many opportunities for people to get together and exchange cards and just get to know each other on a personal level. And if we do that, and we're successful at it, and so far we have been, then if someone says, I'm looking for carpeting, well, they know that the Hugels are at every event. They know them.
They vet them personally.
They can put the face with the business. And you're going to be more likely to have the back of your friends than just a fellow member. And so we try to make our chamber like a family, a big dysfunctional extended family.
Getting to know each other.
Everyone gets to know each other, and they're more likely to support each other and help each other. And I see that every day with our group.
You find that sometimes maybe business people are so busy running their business, it's hard to take that step outside of the office or outside of the plant or stuff, go meet people. So this gives them opportunities to do that.
It is, but I'll tell you what, if you don't do it, where are you? Are you so deep into your office that you're missing the opportunities? And so you've got to You've got to carve out and budget some time for growth. And that's where you network. And if you can't come yourself, you need to have someone come and represent you. And because there's a natural attrition for every business, and you've got to be replacing that every year, or you're going backwards. And so what you need to look at is, where are your opportunities to grow? What's the cost of those opportunities? And the cost of an opportunity with our chamber is extremely reasonable. I think people would be kind of surprised. Most businesses fall in the 1 to 3 employee.
The size of the school.
And we base our memberships on employee count to keep it where you can succeed. And so we price it awfully low. For $60, a 1 to 3 employee business could be a member of our chamber. So that's less than the cost of a display ad that runs one time. With a shelf life of a couple hours. So for a year, you've got the opportunity to grow your business for $60. I think our most expensive membership is maybe $240. And so you've got to look at, in your budget for growth, and I don't care where you're pulling that budget money from, whether it be advertising or whatever, can you find a spot for $60 to $240 to grow your business? And I think that you can. Yeah.
And of course, that goes back to the beginning of the program. We talked about networking. Let's summarize for people who may have turned in late. At Business Expo, March 4th and 5th, and it's open to the public on the 5th, which is a Saturday.
It's open the 5th, from 9 to 2 at the Carl Junction Community Center. And it's $2 for adults, children 12 and under free. Every person that comes in and registers is, adult-wise, is registered for iPad, courtesy of Neotech Solutions, and then they want to go to S&S Computers booth where they can register. The kids can for the Amazon Fire, or whatever that thing is. I don't know. I'm
little
not a
tablet,
person.
right?
Yeah, but it's what they need. And a free cape while the supplies last. Every kid not only can come and see superheroes, they can be a superhero and get a cape from Scott and Shirley Holenshaw at S&S.
So a lot of businesses that day, that a chance to meet the people in the community, but also a lot of people come away with some items, just, business cards, items that people are giving away as samples, a lot of things that you can learn about.
Well, the first 1,000 people are going to get a big tote bag, and it's already have some things stuffed in it, and then you can go around. All the vendors are giving away great items, and most all of the exhibitors also have drawings. And then we have a scavenger hunt where our chamber members donate items. And so last year we had to go buy a tub that was almost the width of this desk. It was huge, and it was just heaped over of items that our members had donated. And that's part of the scavenger hunt. It's also included that day.
Right. Well, Gary, I'd like to thank you very much for visiting today, sharing some information about the Chamber and Carl Junction.
Thank you so much, Judy.
You're welcome. And I'd like to thank you, the viewers, for joining us this week on Newsmakers. I'm Judy Stiles. Hope you can join me again next week at the same time on this station. We'll see you then.